So we're over here in my little crock pot corner, and what I've got is, all I did was buy meat. It's a beef stew meat. It's already cut. I had it frozen because I bought it. It's been in the freezer for about a week, and so I've got about 2 pounds. So I've got that in there. It's frozen. It's got a crock pot for a while. Not a problem. I have a large onion. During the quarantine, I had bought a bunch of onions. I wasn't sure what was going to happen to produce. So I chopped them up and stored them. So here I've got 1 large onion. We're going to go ahead and use this. I have 1 packet of onion soup. Sometimes I do 1 or 2. This time I'm just going to do the 1. I'm also going to put in a can of Campbell's French onion soup. This is going to add some flavor as well. It's got some onions in it too, but my chunky onions are going to overrule, I think. Now we're going to add 2 cups of beef broth. So this is where I judge on water. I don't want a bunch of water, but I want enough water for cooking. Later in my cooking process, I'm going to add some mixed vegetables. And then I'm going to add potatoes on top because I want the potatoes al dente. I don't want them mushy, so I'm not going to cook them the whole time. I'll add them the last hour or 2 during the cooking process. The crock pot is on low. I'm going to cook this for 6 to 8 hours. I'm going to add 2 cups of water. So I think that's a good level. It's about halfway full on a 6-quart crock pot. We're going to put our lid on. I like to seal it, and we're going to let this cook for 6 to 8 hours, but in the meantime we're going to add some vegetables and potatoes, so I'll be right back. Beef stew has been cooking for maybe 5-6 hours on low. So the meat, I'm starting to smell it and everything. So now within the last 2 to 3 hours of it cooking slow, I want to put my potatoes in. I want them to cook, but I don't want them to be mushy. Potatoes do take a little bit more. I usually do white potatoes, but I've got some red ones that I'm going to use. I've got some white ones as well. So I'm going to mix it up a little today. Trying to get rid of some extra that I have, but we're going to go ahead and dice these up. I sometimes will do small or medium chunks for beef stew. I don't want to do too big dices or more for a side dish, not a beef stew. I'm going to do different sizes, change it up. Oops, I really need better knives. So what I did was I had cleaned those prior, scrubbed them up a little bit, and gonna chop them up, and then I'm gonna rinse them again. So we got our potatoes diced. Again, I've got some red and white. I'm gonna re-rinse these, and we're gonna put them in the crock pot. Okay, so my potatoes are all rinsed, and I'm just gonna put them on top. I'm not going to mix them. I think a little more than I wanted to. Again, I just want them to cook up a little more. I don't want them mushy. So we're going to let that go for about an hour, and then I will come back and add the mixed vegetables. The frozen packages, they just need to heat up, so that will be added for the last time of a half hour to an hour of cooking time. So it's about the last hour of cooking on low, and I'm going to add 2 of the mixed vegetables, 12-ounce bags. I have 2 of these. It's frozen. I've had them out for a couple hours to melt up a little bit, so they're not completely frozen. But we're going to add those 2. I'm just going to mix it a little bit so they get into the water. Just mix it up a little bit. I'm also going to taste my broth a little bit. It's cooled down a little bit because of the vegetables, so it's not too hot. Might need a little more salt and pepper on it, so I'm going to maybe put some salt, pepper, and a little garlic salt. Maybe a couple teaspoons, a tablespoon maybe. Okay, so I've added a tablespoon of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. One of these days I'll have to make a video of that recipe. I think I might tweak it a little bit, so I'll play with it before I do a video and upload it. But I am going to let this cook some more, heat up. When it's getting ready to, maybe the last half hour, I don't know, I might thicken this up. I don't know if I want to do it more of a soup or a stew. So we're going to let this continue to heat up. Okay, so this last hour I've decided I'm going to go ahead and turn this up to high, get the temperature up on it. I have taken 1 cup of cold water and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. If you do cold water, the cornstarch will not lump. So I've mixed it up. I'm going to add it. I've added that, and I'm going to stir that up. Put the lid back on it and bring that to a simmer and see if it'll thicken up. Okay, so we did about 6 hours on low. I did 2 hours on high. I tried to thicken it. I'm not going to add too much. I've got too much going on, so we're just going to do a soup type stew. If you want to thicken this up, you can add more cornstarch. Also, what I've done is used McCormick brown gravy. 1 or 2 packets of that will thicken this up as well on a high boil, but I'm not going to fight with it. So here is a stew, and usually I do cornbread. Actually, I should say jalapeno cornbread, and that'll be another video.